See, now we can officially say it. It's football season. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Lombardi Time Brews, where I'm your host, John Del Rey. Quicker episode today because, of course, the Green Bay Packers kick off the season tonight against the Cincinnati Bengals in their first preseason game. First of all, though, happy birthday to the Green Bay Packers. That's right, this is their 104th birthday today. And what an appropriate day to kick off the season. Perhaps maybe a winning season, a playoff season, or by some miracle, a Super Bowl season? Hey, why not? They're playing on their birthday, so maybe we'll grant some birthday wishes tonight. Today, I'm going through the top 10 things that I'm looking for during not really just this game tonight, but more so every preseason game. That includes next weekend against the Patriots and the week after that against the Seahawks. This is something that I think consistently, these are the narratives that we're searching for, that we're looking for clarity as we try to figure out who's going to be on the 53-man roster. So definitely things to keep in mind. Without further ado, let's dive right in. Number one, that the Green Bay Packers stay injury-free. Right? We all remember those years in the past where the Green Bay Packers have played in a game and then all of a sudden one of their star players gets hurt. Or remember, even it's happened at family night before too. Priority one for the preseason is stay healthy. That's it. Number two, obviously, Jordan Love and the quarterback position. Now, what specifically am I looking for from Love? Well, to this point in camp, there's been a couple of things that I think we should monitor, right? One is his consistency with the deep ball. We've seen practice after practice, his first couple of deep balls are always seemingly off. And that kind of goes for some of his intermediate throws too. So where is he at with it right now? Now that we're in an actual game, now that he's throwing against corners that he doesn't throw against every single day, how is that going to look? We saw the highlight the other day of the long in-stride ball to Romeo Doubs against the Bengals. But we've also seen mistakes along the way too. So, what's he going to look like tonight? What's he going to look like in preseason as we go through the game action on his deep ball? In addition, the other thing that I'm looking for, sometimes he looks wonderfully composed, right? And I'm not saying he does it too much. Other times he'll tuck the ball and he'll run. But what I'm really looking for is what is his overall pocket presence. I'm expecting the pass protection to be overall better than what we've seen in camp because, O-lines can actually block now in games, which is something that you don't really do in camp that much. And we know the Packers have one of the best pass blocking O-lines in the NFL, assuming health. So, how's Jordan Love's pocket navigation? One thing that Aaron Rodgers was one of the best at all time was navigating the pocket, knowing when to move. And Jordan Love certainly doesn't have to have that level of competency. That's an unfair expectation. But is he going to do it well? Or is this going to be a recurrent problem whenever the Packers face pressure that the young quarterback panics? Something to work for, along with his footwork in those corresponding situations. In terms of the backup quarterback positions, I'm going to be looking at mainly, I know the development of Sean Clifford is very, very important, but I'm going to be looking at Alex Magoo because he's been the quarterback of the mostly 4 to this point, and they cut Danny Etling. Okay, so now it's 3, but to this point, he's probably the quarterback at camp that I've seen the least. He always seemed to get last in terms of reps or anything like that. And Clifford, when he got his chance at family night, we saw his growth. Magoo was the last quarterback on the roster. We know that they've talked about how he had to learn the playbook. So where is he at? Is he actually going to take the number 2 quarterback job and have Clifford have to be quarterback 3? I don't think he's going to get cut and put on the practice squad because that just doesn't happen. Brian Gutekunst has ever only cut 4 draft picks he's ever made. So I don't see them doing that with a 5th-round quarterback. But is he going to press for quarterback 2 and then relegate Clifford to that inactive injury status quarterback thing with the new rules? So something to watch for as these quarterbacks get more of an opportunity than they've had at all to this point. Number 3, let's take a look at the offensive line and the rotations. Of course, everyone's talking about Josh Myers, Zach Tom, the battle at center, or Yash versus Tom, the battle at right tackle. The truth is, I'm looking at a lot more than that on that offensive line because I think what the Packers are going to do may actually be indicated by some of the depth. I don't know if David Bakhtiari is going to play tonight yet. That hasn't been revealed yet. I don't know if he's going to play this preseason at all. But if he does play, I'm assuming that the first string offensive lineman at this point is Bach, Elton Jenkins, Myers, John Rennie Jr., and Zach Tom. That's been the way that it's been most prevalent in camp thus far. Now, if Bakhtiari isn't playing, then you're probably looking at Yash at left tackle instead of Bach, but leave everything else the same. So then where does that leave room for this center competition? Might Zach Tom take snaps at center with the twos? And if it's not him, is it still Jake Hansen who's the backup center? Or do they really like Empey or Schneider to come in and take some of those two snaps? So what does that rotation look like? Is Sean Ryan, we know he did some center work at OTAs. Might he get some center snaps? Because are they going to have to hang on to one of Hansen, Empey, Schneider? Or can they rely on Ryan or Tom to actually be the backup center to Myers in the event of injury? Or is Myers the backup center if Tom wins the job and they want Yash right tackle? For the first time, we're going to see these rotations play out in a game setting this year. And that is what I think is going to be incredibly enlightening. Same thing with the transition points between Caleb Jones, Luke Tenuta, Rasheed Walker. They're three developmental tackles who, by the way, are developing quite nicely, especially Rasheed Walker. I read that he had a wonderful practice against the Bengals the other day. So what is that rotation going to look like? Who's going to play where and when? Number 4, how are the tight ends utilized? All these brand new tight ends, where are they going? Is Musgrave actually going to be an inline tight end? Or is he going to be like a slot receiver? Where is he going to go? Is DeGuara pretty much exclusively now truly like a fullback? Or is he still going to be inline tight end a lot? Where to Kraft, Davis? Where do they fit in, especially with the earlier strings of depth? All going to be very, very interesting to see where they line up for now. Number 5. Is the Packers pass rush for real? I know Rashawn Gary probably isn't playing tonight. He's probably not going to play all preseason. But the Packers pass rush to this point in camp, and I know I mentioned earlier that like guys aren't truly blocking yet, right? So take it with a grain of salt. That's why we don't really like track sacks in terms of training camp, because it's a silly exercise. But you still can tell when pressures exist, right? So is the pass rush for real? To this point, it's been incredibly good. Devontae Wyatt stepping up in a massive way. Lucas Van Ness looking more and more developed by the day, although he still needs to develop a secondary move. Preston Smith, Kenny Clark. Like, the Packers front seven has the potential to be one of the best and most talented fronts in the NFL in the pass rush area. So what we've seen in camp shows that they will be. But now that you get into a game setting, are they going to be able to carry it through? Or has this all just been a mirage because they've been going against O-lines that haven't really been blocking? I've asked the question before. Early in camp, when the offense was struggling almost every day, is this a matter of the Packers' defense being really good or the Packers' offense being bad? We start to answer that question tonight. Number 6, the safety position. Everything about the safety position, actually. Where are they going to play? Who's going to play when? Who's going to start next to Savage tonight? Because that's probably your actually, true person who's in the starting role right now. Who's the number 3 safety? That's an important role in this defense. We know that historically. So, who, where, when, why, how? Just all the questions about the safety position. Number 7, a player-specific one, Tyler Goodson. You know that I love Tyler Goodson when he has the ball in his hands. He's a great receiver. He's just an absolute dynamo runner. It always seems that when he gets the ball in his hands, something big happens. That's why he was the Packers' leading rusher at preseason last year. And with Lou Nichols probably maybe-ish out yet with his injury, this could be a good step for Goodson to really plant his flag on that number 3 job. But we know that Patrick Taylor's still there too, and he plays special teams. But the area that Goodson has always lacked has been pass blocking. Is he getting better at it? Can they actually trust him now? Because if they can trust him as a pass blocker, to me, he should be the running back 3. But if he can't do that yet, if he's still learning how, if he's not trustworthy, then he still doesn't stand a shot. Number 8, wide receiver 6. Yeah, is Grant Dubose going to make a play for wide receiver 6? Or are Bo Melton and Malik Heath can continue to take steps farther and farther past Grant Dubose, the 7th round pick? I know I mentioned earlier that Brian Gutekunst just doesn't cut his draft picks. Well, in this particular case, Grant Dubose has yet to do much of anything at all. And Malik Heath and Bo Melton have consistently been making plays. Heath has really come on as of late in training camp. Melton, I feel, has been consistently a guy making catch after catch after catch all throughout camp. So can Dubose gain on them? Or is this truly just a two-person wide receiver 6 battle at this point? Number 9. Does Jaden Reed stand a chance to become the punt returner? We know All-Pro Keyshawn Nixon is the kick returner, as he should be. He has more than earned that right. But there were some gripes with the way that he returned punts last year. So, enter Jaden Reed, who has experience returning punts, who in camp thus far has been kind of, I say Nixon is still like the one, but Reed is very clearly the second option for being the punt returner. Is he going to get chances in these games to prove that he should be the punt returner while Nixon just sticks to kicks? One thing I'm very eager to find out. And then number 10, going back to the interior defensive line. Is a defensive lineman going to make a play, going to make the Packers keep a 6th defensive lineman on their roster? Now, they did it last year. They kept 7th round pick Jonathan Ford last year, and then they made him inactive every single freaking game of the year. So, I don't know. I haven't seen a ton from Ford in camp. I know he's made some plays. He probably is like the number 6 defensive lineman right now if they opt to keep one. This defense does not have to keep one, especially considering the versatility with Preston, Rashawn, and LVN being big enough to play on the inside sometimes. They don't need to keep a 6th defensive lineman. My personal preference, if they're looking to win games this year, would still be that they go and sign a veteran interior defensive lineman, someone who's particularly adept at stopping the run. Like, I don't know, I mentioned Shelby Harris for like 2 months, then he just signed away the other day, going to the Browns to add on to their front. But wide receiver or defensive lineman 6 right now probably is Jonathan Ford, then maybe Chris Slayton. Then you get into the UDFAs, Moultrie, Lewin. Is any one of them going to actually make a play to force the Packers to keep 6 defensive linemen? Or are they just going to continue treading water, in which case letting the Packers to get away with 5 and then utilizing the edges more? That's what I'm looking for. And boy, am I excited because it's football season. We're finally here. There's an actual kickoff tonight on the Packers' birthday. Oh, I hope all of you enjoy this as much as I'm going to, whether it's the first series, the first half, the whole game. No matter how much you watch, I do hope that you enjoy it and that Packer football being back in your life is a blessing for you. So, thanks so much for checking out Lombardi Time Brews. I'll be back tomorrow. Sometime tomorrow, I don't totally know when. My 3-year-old will probably determine when, actually. But sometime tomorrow, I'm going to put out a video updating my 53-man roster prediction following preseason game 1. I think this is going to kind of be a theme. I'll just put one out after every preseason game as we get closer. So, thanks so much for tuning in. I do hope you have a great night tonight. And as always, go Pack Go.